In 2005, NASCAR tried something they hadn't in over 50 years, racing outside of the United States for a points-paying race. NASCAR's Nationwide Series raced in Mexico from 2005 to 2008, and then picked up another international race in Canada at Montreal in 2007. The Nationwide Series fell back to one international race on the schedule in 2012. This 2012 race remains a classic until today, so we're going to take a look back at how crazy this race actually was. Just before we get into the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss an upload. Anyways, let's get into the video. This was actually not NASCAR's first time racing in Canada. In 1952, NASCAR's Grand National Series raced on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls for a points-paying race, but never returned. However, by 2012, NASCAR had made going to Montreal a tradition and was a road course loved by a majority of the fans. Canadian Alex Tagliani, who is a former kart winner and IndyCar driver, had entered the race a couple times before, but sat on pole for the 2012 edition. Championship contender Sam Hornish Jr. was alongside him. A total of 9 Canadian drivers started the race, including former Formula One champion Jacques Villeneuve. Villeneuve's father, Gilles, won the first ever Canadian Grand Prix in 1978, but tragically died in 1982 during a qualifying session. The track was renamed in his honor. Villeneuve had come close to winning in Montreal before, with 2 top 5 finishes, but he was determined to get it done this time. Now let's get into the race.
In English, this race in Montreal is green.
Tagliani held on to the lead after the first sequence of turns, but Hornish looked for a move into turn 10 but was unable to complete it and was challenged by Villeneuve instead. On lap 2, championship leader Elliott Sadler made a scheduled pit stop. This may seem like a weird strategy, but this ensures that Sadler can make it to the end on 2 more stops, and he doesn't lose a lap since the track is so long. The top 3 seemed to settle in until lap 3 when Hornish made a pretty easy move for the lead.
Gears, second gear, third gear, leading into the
Sam's
blind right-hander.
And he may have him, and he does.
That was very generous of Tagliani also.
Nice and smooth now, nice and smooth.
On lap 4, other championship contenders Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Austin Dillon came for their splash of fuel. A lot of the field came with them, but many of the leaders stayed out. Coming back from commercial break, there was noticeable damage on Alex Tagliani's car. Alex got into the back of Sam Hornish Jr., then Sam let him by on the next lap. At the start of lap 7, Tagliani pitted. The next lap, Villeneuve got by Hornish for the lead as the crowd roared for their hometown hero.
He is going to take lead, and listen to the crowd down in turn 1 here.
Very clear who is the hometown favorite, isn't it?
Danica Patrick, who had struggled all season, made a move on Sam Hornish Jr. to jump up to second place after starting 4th. Behind her, another Canadian, Ron Fellows, battled with Billy Johnson for 4th. Ron Fellows had been a road course ringer in NASCAR since 1995 and actually won 4 Nationwide Series races. Skipping ahead to lap 19, the first caution of the day came out for Dexter Stacy, who nearly backed into the leader.
Stacy, he ran 32nd last week at the Glen, and that's your race leader he almost backed into.
This was a huge disadvantage for the top 5 runners since they had to pit while the field was bunched up under yellow. Most of the other lead lap cars had already pitted under green. Because of this, Danica Patrick took over the lead and led the field to green.
And then back in row number 3, Elliott Sadler and Kyle Busch in the 54. Yes, Busch, who started in the back, is in the 3rd row. Here we go.
Taking driver's right is great as long as you can clear the car to your inside before you get to turn 1.
Ron Fellows and Justin Allgaier had a battle behind her, while Cole Witt completely missed the turn and luckily avoided a serious crash.
Oh, Allgaier, and one car goes through the grass. That is Cole Witt. He's going to come back out. Look out. Everybody seems to avoid him.
Yeah, there's always 2 parts to that equation.
Timmy Hill went off course just a moment later, forcing the second caution of the day. After the caution, a replay showed that Allgaier and Fellows actually made contact during their battle. Patrick led the field to green again, while Kyle Busch quietly moved up to second after not qualifying or practicing. Andrew Ranger was also working his way up, making his way into the top 10. Villeneuve made his way up to fourth, while Kyle Busch and Justin Allgaier pitted after not pitting since lap 4. This bumped Fellows up to second, staying right at around a second behind Danica. A couple laps later, Dexter Stacey had more trouble and brought out the third caution of the day.
Dexter was 2 laps down in 34th.
Yeah, and you can see the damage is already done with the left front tire, and then he finishes it off a big impact in the outside of the wall. The way he went straight through the turn, it almost looked as though he might have had a brake problem.
Stacey clipped the grass, then smacked the outside wall pretty hard, lifting his right side tires off track. Ron Fellows pitted under caution, while Danica stayed out. Her team was trying to make the race on 2 stops instead of 3. Danica beat the second place car for the 3rd restart in a row, while Michael McDowell found himself in the top 5 for the first time all day. Just behind him, Alex Tagliani was back in 5th. McDowell then made a move on Hornish and looked like the fastest car on track. Sam started falling back, falling from 3rd to 6th on the restart. As Villeneuve started closing in on Danica for the lead, Brian Scott spun it, but this didn't bring out the caution. As Villeneuve continued to pressure Danica, the announcers started talking about something very strange that happened on the restart that wasn't initially picked up. Someone threw a shoe onto the track and Danica hit it. Danica complained on the radio that there was something wrong with her steering. She was able to hang on to the lead for a couple more laps, but lost it at the end of lap 40. On lap 46, debris brought out the caution. Danica's woe did not end with a shoe, as a bracket fell off Danica's car and a part visibly started to dangle. Everyone up front pitted under caution, with Villeneuve coming out first. Just before the green came out, Danica was able to give feedback to her crew, and they diagnosed the problem. Elliott Sadler, Andrew Ranger, and Justin Allgaier fought for the lead on the restart.
That's Ranger in the 27.
Yeah, whoa, carried a lot of speed into turn 2. I think got a little bit of Elliott Sadler.
A lot of bumping and banging through there, but everybody has come out the other end.
Villeneuve, Tagliani, and Hornish desperately tried to make up ground after restarting in the middle of the field.
59. At 59 at Kelly.
Ooh.
Whoa, and some contact there. Kelly's all over the place.
Yeah, we took you along for the ride there, didn't we? That could have been disaster.
Ron Fellows and Sadler made pit stops during a commercial break, which left Villeneuve, Busch, Hornish, Allgaier, and Tagliani in the top 5. The announcers doubted that Villeneuve could make it to the end on fuel. About that time, Justin Allgaier pitted, while Danica's day just got worse. What was looking like a potential win had officially turned to total disaster.
Like it's got issues.
It does no drive. It's got a little drive and then it just slaps. There's nothing there.
Shannon.
Just a couple laps later, Jason Bowles brought out the 5th caution after spinning into the gravel trap in turn 10. This helped those who were trying to save fuel, so none of the leaders pitted under caution. On the restart, Alex Tagliani forced his way into the lead. Just behind them, Michael McDowell made a terrible mistake, taking himself out and Sam Hornish Jr.
In the past, this is where Villeneuve has come unglued. Needs to... Wow!
Oh, now Hornish gets rammed by the 18 of McDowell, and he is into the barrier. Has to get going. Championship points at stake here.
Now, 2 Canadians were in the lead, and 2 of their toughest competitors were now completely out of contention. Things then got worse for Hornish after being collected in a pileup on the exit of turn 2.
They all stopped at lap number 46. I mean, everybody in the top 7. Oh, more problems. As Danica Patrick and Sam Hornish, they're involved.
Kyle Kelly got into the back of Danica, spinning her and collecting Mike Wallace and Hornish.
9 of Kyle Kelly turning Danica. Oh, and then the 0-1 of Mike Wallace tries to take an evade.
Adding to the chaos, Ron Fellows was spun by Kyle Busch. Fellows then stalled and wasn't able to refire his engine. Back to the front, the battle for the lead was heating up.
Hold off Villeneuve and Billy Johnson, hoping that the 2 of them take each other out, and they're into each other, and here goes Villeneuve. He's going to turn him.
That is payback. That was payback. He never lifted, Marty. He never lifted coming off of turn 2.
Then Villeneuve spun Tagliani on the exit of turn 2. as payback for the contact on the restart. A couple laps later, with 4 to go, Mike Wallace spun and brought out another caution. Now, with 2 laps to go, it was Billy Johnson versus Jacques Villeneuve.
We come down, green flag is out, hold on, we're heading for turn 1. Look at Tagliani coming in deep, contact back there with Gahn in the 33, Tagliani goes around again, and now Gahn goes around. Sadler somehow gets through in the 2, and Sam Hornish gets through in the...
On the restart, Tagliani, Gahn, and Moore were turned. This eventually brought out the caution, because both Tagliani and Jeremy Clements were stalled. With Villeneuve's fuel problem and his tendency to cause crashes, it looked like Brian Scott in third was probably in the best position to take his first win. Billy Johnson had a terrible restart and bogged down the entire right side of the grid. After a relatively clean first couple of turns, Stenhouse went around trying to get beside the leader.
I can guarantee you Stenhouse didn't circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Boy, he is all over. Oh, no, he's going to go around. A little too aggressive as he tried to give the 22 a bit of a nudge, and it cost Stenhouse dearly.
The caution was thrown for another incident in the same turn.
He actually didn't get any help.
Well, he actually had contact with the 22 car, and then you can see everybody else spinning behind. Oh, there goes Kyle.
Kyle gets hit in the right rear.
Billy Johnson had to make the hard decision to pit under yellow because of his fuel situation. Now for the final restart, the running order would be Villeneuve, Sadler, Scott, and Hornish. Once again, it was a clean start out front, but Villeneuve knew he was short on fuel. Allgaier moved up to second after passing Sadler. On the backstretch, Brian Scott ran out of fuel. Now coming to the white flag, Villeneuve was in complete control, but could he make it to the finish? The battle for second was on as both drivers knew the situation.
His best finish in the Nationwide Series, third. Does he have enough fuel to get a win here? Allgaier's all over him. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel. Allgaier gets around.
Finally, Jacques started to run out of fuel, and Justin Allgaier was able to get by him.
Allgaier brushes the wall, but it looks like he's going to have enough, and he's going to win.
Hit me, baby! Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm...
His third Nationwide Series win, first on the road course.
After the checkered, it was obvious Villeneuve wasn't happy. It initially appeared he ran out of fuel, but he may have just had a quick sputter, and Allgaier took advantage of this and bumped into the back of him. This was a crazy race with a large crowd, so why doesn't NASCAR go back? Unfortunately, the Nationwide Series event wasn't very profitable for the circuit all 6 years that they raced there. The track's management wanted a Cup Series event there, but NASCAR refused. The management then said that if a Nationwide Series event was the only option, they wanted it in a primetime Sunday slot. However, NASCAR declined and opted not to renew a contract with the circuit. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I know it was a long one, so thank you for sticking around and watching until the end. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.